Hello, guys. I'm a little bit better now. I had a couple beers. That always seems to help me out. I'm in a better mood now. So I'm ready to talk about Standard now and all the cancer that is Aetherworks Marvel Teamer. And what the hell's wrong with this shit? Because top 8 and top 10s and all that shit, it's just flooded with the same deck. Huh. Wow, I wonder how the hell that happened. I'm curious. I don't know. But apparently it's because energy's a really busted mechanic, and Aetherworks Marvel seems to work really well with that because when you have creatures that enter the battlefield and give you energy counters, guess what? The ability of Aetherworks Marvel is going to be extremely busted. You already have enough energy counters to use it, and you can get a Chandra or a new Lamog incredibly easily. But this seems to be a problem for Wizards. They are having some difficulties now in figuring out what exactly they need to do to make a pretty good and balanced set. And unfortunately, they made Kaladesh, which a lot of us really liked, gave us a lot of good artifacts to work with. The only problem is, next to blue, artifacts are the most busted cards in the game of Magic the Gathering. If you try to tell me otherwise, you don't know your shit. So again, if you haven't noticed in recent history when it comes to Magic the Gathering, they have been dumbing down blue excessively. They have been trying their hardest to make blue a non-factor in Standard. Why? Because if you give blue any power at all, blue will just dominate outright. The same is true for artifacts. It's the whole reason why, again, six of the power 9 right now are artifacts. They tend to be the most powerful cards in the game. And some people argue that they're even more powerful than blue cards, even though some blue cards, again, we're talking Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, some of the most busted cards that should have never been made. But that was a long time ago. You can't change the past. The past is the past. You can't change it. So, the problem with Aetherworks Marvel is that it's an incredibly busted mechanic that works well with other cards that are currently allowed in Standard. Now, usually no problem, a 5 converted mana cost artifact with a pretty good ability, as long as it didn't synergize with other cards, was likely never going to see play in Standard anyway. But, because it had synergies with energy counters, it easily saw play, and people finally realized its true potential this season of Standard, and all the top decks flooded by Teamer Aetherworks Marvel. The only deck that is really dominating right now. And this is not too far off of them banning the Saheeli Cat combo, which a lot of people complain that there's no parity in fucking Magic the Gathering because there's usually a combo deck, and that's a big problem. When the top deck is entirely just consuming the whole format, and it's usually based off of a really busted interaction or a good combo, you're not going to have a fun time because all the decks you play are going to win easily because of that combo or interaction. The easiest way to fix this is to take away that interaction. Make it to where Aetherworks Marvel, if Aetherworks Marvel didn't have anything to do with energy counters, this problem would have never have happened. Why do I say that? Because in order to get the energy counters off of Aetherworks Marvel, you have to sacrifice permanents. Now, this was easily abused because creatures that enter the battlefield from Kaladesh block gave you energy counters. So you didn't have to put much effort into getting the ability off of Aetherworks Marvel because you already had things that gave you energy counters to begin with. So, all this could have been avoided if they just said, whenever you sacrifice a permanent, you get a counter of a different type. Not an energy counter, but some other type of counter that doesn't synergize with the set at all. That way, you can give Commander players a really cool card to put in some of their artifact decks, while also just saying, hey, we're not going to make the format busted in Standard. There's a lot of busted cards right now. We don't need to add anything more. Now again, This happened last year when we got Kaladesh, and it took a while before people finally realized the potential of this card. So now, Wizards, they're in this awkward position now where do they ban Aetherworks Marvel, do they ban Ulamog, or do they? The wiser choice would obviously be banning Aetherworks Marvel, because it has the most time left in Standard. Ulamog's getting ready to rotate here pretty soon, and you just have this busted mechanic with energy counters. Really busted, and probably should never have even been made. And you could blame Kaladesh for being extremely overpowered, or you could blame Amonkhet for not giving us any sort of playability and cards that can counteract anything from Kaladesh. Not a lot of good artifact removal, but again, that's just the whole problem right now. Everybody doesn't know what the hell is going on with Standard. Everybody's confused, and it seems like they're going to have to rely on the good old ban hammer now, because that's what they're doing now. If something's good at all, they just ban it. Well, I guess that's what happens. It's fitting because they joined Tumblr. So let's just ban something. If anybody gets triggered by a card, let's just ban it. That seems to be like a great idea. Every single time we see a card that's busted, or any good mechanic at all, let's just ban it. That'll fix it. And you know what would actually fix it? Let's just try this idea. Something that could actually fix it. Don't make a busted card to begin with. Huh. And if you do make a busted card, make sure that card has no playability in Standard. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's not that hard. You just have to get someone that knows what the fuck they're doing in their R&D department. That's all you have to do. Those two things. Make a card that is not busted in Standard, and if it is busted, make sure it has no playability in Standard. That's it. The only two things that you have to do. R&D, can you do it? Can you figure out how this shit works? Because apparently in the last year, you're just clueless. You don't know how to do anything. These have been the most bans in Standard we've ever seen in a long time. I mean, we haven't had any single ban since Jace the Mind Sculptor, I believe, was the last time a card got banned in Standard, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since we've had this last year. I mean, they banned Smuggler's Copter because it was seeing play in literally every single deck. And they also banned Reflector Mage because that triggered too many players, and they didn't like that. They thought that was annoying. And they banned Emrakul because they thought it was too powerful, even though it gave the player another turn to counteract anything that the other player could control with. But again, those cards were all banned because they were too good, or deemed too good for the Standard format. So what happens is, Saheeli Cat, unopposed, till that got banned. And now, Aetherworks Marvel Teamer, unopposed. This is a significant problem. I wonder if they can fix it this time. Who knows? If you like my videos, I have a ton more. You probably will enjoy them too. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like. I am signing off now. And I'm happy.